I know sometimes life can be tough, and you feel like you just had enough. When you're thinking everything is gone wrong, just remember that I'm here to cheer you on. Yeah, I wanna pick you up from the ground, let you know that I'm always around. 'Cause I know we can make it, yes we can make it if we try. Keep on trying.
You got it.
I believe in you.
You got it.
I know you got this.
You got it.
Just keep on trying.
You got it.
There's been a lot of bumps in the road. Oh yeah. Always carrying that oh so heavy load. When you feel like there's too much on your plate, just call on me.
Call on me.
And I'll help you carry some of that weight. I wanna make you understand, let you know that there's always a helping hand. 'Cause I know we can make it, yeah we can make it if we try. Yes we can make it if we try. Keep on trying.
Got it.
You're gonna make it.
Got it.
I believe in you.
Got it.
Trying. Keep on trying, girl.
Got it.
You're gonna make it.
Got it.
'Cause I believe in you. Yeah. Just keep on trying. Got to keep on trying. Oh, baby, I believe in you. Just keep on trying. Everything will be alright, my baby.
Good afternoon. How's everybody today? Let me just say hi to who's in here now. Let's see, we got Just Irish. Thanks for sharing that out. I guess you did. You said you were. I don't know if you actually did. Thanks anyway. Thank you. Betty Dan Boop, thanks for being here. I need a mod. I got one mod here. And I'm hoping you're doing well. Wishing you well, Betty Dan Boop. Great Dane Lover. I hope everybody's doing well. Victoria Burgess, Morgan LaFay. Hello, everybody. So one of the fears, of going live is, for me, is like nobody's going to be there. I don't know why. I mean, you can do a live. Hey, Mark. Mark's a mod too. You can do a live stream without anybody being there, but if that's the case, you don't really need to be live to do it. But we're going to talk about today trauma, childhood trauma, and how it affects a child, and into adulthood. And this is a follow-up to the one I did kind of before a lot of y'all even knew me, and I did it as a premiere. But I'm going to use a lot of my own situations as examples, and I'm also going to talk about Brittany J's situation with her children, because most of us witness a lot of that. And my trauma is I've already shared a lot of my stuff, but some of this I'm going to use within talking about it, because it's what I know. I didn't learn this from going to college and getting a degree in psychology. I learned it by living it and reading about it and thinking about it. And let me start off with this thing here. This is, I don't know who this person is. This was on X. I often see things. Well, usually they're like a meme about mental health or something, and or life, and I'll save them. I'll just save them to my desktop. And I saved this one. It's from 2022, but it was something I recently saw. This person says, I interviewed a trauma therapist for a story, and she said the strength of a trauma diagnosis is that it externalizes the source of a pathology. It's saying something terrible happened to you, not something is wrong with you. And that, as a child, it was me. There's something wrong with me. It's a lot. It's a whole childhood thing. And I had food. I had, I had my own room. I had a bed. I had not everything I wanted, of course, but I had things everything I needed, except emotional support. And on that side, on that end, 0, 0, 0. Hey, Nana, mopping floors. I had, if you outside looking in, everybody thought we were rich because my dad built our house and we had a brick home, and people thought, and it looks big, but it wasn't really that big. But a lot of people that I went to high school with, they weren't wealthy. And so a lot of people thought, we had a lot of money, and we really didn't. But compared to them, maybe we did, but you can't always judge a book by the cover. And most of us have had some kind of trauma. But when you live in this chaos every day, the chaos of a parent being, an alcoholic, you don't even have to diagnose, but the parents got problems with their getting along with their, or relating to their children. It's not like, I always said my mother didn't get the mom gene. She just didn't have it. And I didn't realize, I'm almost 65, and I didn't really realize this until recently, in the clear version of it, that my mother, or my sister, who we've gotten along and we've not gotten along, but I didn't really realize that, we were both just trying to get that emotional support that we needed, and we went about it in different ways. And her way was to go, to be mean to me, to bully me, to beat me up, to tattle on me. And that gained her favor with the parents, and I was always like, there's always been this divide, and we're looking at, a lifelong divide of our family. It's like everybody can't I'm talking mother, father, and the 2 siblings, and the mother, father are now divorced. After 50 years of marriage, they got divorced, and we're all still broken up. And I was really getting, I was kind of closer to my dad after they got divorced. And then my sister came back into his picture, and he completely turned on me. And it's like, they can only be, you can only like certain part of the family at a certain time. It's so weird. Let me see what y'all are saying. Miss Sarah said, child and adolescent psych was one of my favorite classes. It spoke a lot about trauma through development. I think it's helped me significantly as a mom as well. Thank you, Miss Sarah. Thanks for sharing that. Crazy B6 says, my children looked perfect from the outside until you saw the abusive alcoholic father in the home that was hidden well. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about is, I think I said hi to everybody who's come in the chat. Is that, I appreciate y'all. I appreciate this. Sorry, Barb. I'm in a good place, right? I'm in a good place. This stuff happened. I've lived with it. I've been to therapy over it. I went to therapy many, many times about my mother. She just doesn't, I just can't, I try, and she just doesn't love me. And so, no therapist can can fix that. You can't fix that. Betty Dan Boop says, growing up in the system taught me that I can handle just about anything life throws my way. Yeah, Betty, we get strength from taking our, up for ourselves. Like I said, I'm strong in ways because I had to be. But that doesn't mean I can't, boohoo and cry. I mean, it's not that kind of strong. That always got me in trouble too when I cried. Miss Sarah says life experience is what inspired me to go back to school for forensic psychology. I'm 38, but I don't think I wouldn't have been doing as well without experiencing what I have thus far in life. Amber says just stopping in for support. Adverse childhood experience can have a huge impact on us, including emotionally unavailable parents. Yes, Amber, never. I sought the love of the affection. Like my mother can't hug. She doesn't have empathy or something. I don't know. And it wasn't until recently after my niece and I had, a big thing in the family blew up and my niece had gone at me and I'm just like, okay. And then we got together for lunch recently and she's like, I said something about our conversation that had been a fight. And she said, oh, that's okay. I'm not trying to get grandmom's love anymore. And it just, boom, hit me because that's what I've been trying to get. That's what I've been saying. I'm just trying to get her to love me, And then to hear it coming from my niece, who's an adult now, she's 40, around 40. So what did Just Stars? You have to learn how to cope with it. Yeah, you have to learn how to cope with it. Train spotting. I don't know what train spotting is. And what it does, what happens is we're sent into the world with a warped view of things. So, let me get that. That we like that. Okay. So now we're going to get into. I've got some talking points, and then I'm just going to enter into that what I know about what happened to me and my life experiences, and then we'll also talk about the possible things that's going on for her children. So what happens to a kid when their parent is mentally unstable, emotionally abusive, or just not there? Like you can, like I was emotionally abused in a way that I got made fun of all the time. And so by my own family, mother and sister mostly, but dad didn't really intervene. It was just like every night at dinner, we always had our meals together. We always had a sit down dinner. This was in the 60s and 70s, so things were a little bit different then. And we would, I guess I ate slow. I don't know. It was like I cried every night, and they were making fun of me. And I'd pull my shirt up over. I mean, I was a little kid. I'd pull my shirt up over my face, and I didn't have anybody. I didn't have my sister. I didn't have my dad. I didn't have my mother. They were all laughing at me, and and I'd have to sit there and eat long after everybody else finished because I would be crying, right? And it doesn't sound like a lot. And I did used to think, well, everybody has had more trauma than me. This is ridiculous. My trauma is nothing because some people had been sexually abused or physically beaten or, all kinds of things that didn't happen to me. Yes, I got spanked with a belt. My father, he wouldn't do it. He would just pretend like he was doing it. But my mother did. We would get hit like that. But this isn't like a rough day, a rough patch. It's not like a bad day. This is like an ongoing chaos. You're growing up in chaos. And this is all happens, like we're talking specifically preteen. When you get to be a teenager, you can break away some of that. Like I went and got a job when I turned 16 because it got me, because I mean, I wanted to get a job. I wanted to get out of the house. I wanted to be away, right? But it gives you independence and it gave me money and I was able to buy my, my first car in 10th or 11th grade. I guess 11th grade. It wasn't anything fancy or anything, but I was able to get a car. Um, and I was able to not have to ask everybody. Let me see what y'all are doing over here. Miss Sarah says brain spotting is somewhat new and more therapists are picking up on it. It's a form of cognitive behavioral therapy. Yes, I need some cognitive therapy. Emotional abuse is just as destructive as any other abuse. It is. I mean, I'm getting that now. Hey, Mittens and more. I'm learning that now. Oops, I don't want to put you in timeout. I hit the wrong button. Yeah. It is emotional abuse, not feeling loved. My whole memories in high school was I remember in 7th grade it started trying to always had this thing for not a sexual thing, right? But this want to get the attention of an older girl at school, like 2, 3 years older. And it went on my whole high school, junior high and high school. I can see them in my mind. One of them I'm still friends with. I just, was so needing that attention, I guess, from a female. Yes, and I am gay, but it wasn't that. I mean, I always saw it. I always got it confused when I was older and understood what being gay was because we didn't have the same thing in society that we have now back in, the 60s and 70s. We didn't have out gay people. And all I knew was that it was bad, it was just bad to be that way. And so I always thought when I got older, it didn't happen after I first got a girlfriend, but it wasn't sexual. It was just wanting someone to be like a mother figure. Yeah, a mother figure. Hey, Miss Brittany. So that was my experience with, like I said, my whole high school year. There weren't a ton of them, but there were, I don't know, 3 or 4 maybe. At some point, I stopped needing that person, but it never worked out anyway. Hey, let's give a thumbs up, please, if you can. Let's get some people in here, some more people. But before you're a teen, you don't have any way to work this kind of thing out in your mind. As a child, you only know your home. You know a little bit. Maybe you did sleepovers at your friends. Maybe you had a grandparent, or you did leave that home, but you really only know your own home. And there's kids who come from such a chaotic home they won't take anybody home. You wouldn't know my home was chaotic. It wasn't a constant chaos. It was clean. It wasn't, it was the non ability to have that emotional attention that I needed. And it was the anxiety that comes from your parents arguing, him cussing her out, her slamming cabinet doors and taking deep sighs. When I hear people on YouTube, they're taking those deep sighs, I'm always like, you sound like my mother. She would do those, kind of things like that. And it's just, it's like, to me. And I also think that the chaos that we had in our childhood, that we're often in some way drawn to that. Like they say, you marry your father, a girl marries her father. Well, I didn't marry anybody, but I did have the one boyfriend that I did a lot of drugs with, and was he like my father? I don't really know. Miss Sarah says they shunned anyone who wasn't straight, vanilla, and monogamous back in the day. They did, and it's a whole lot different now. But my father would always talk about this family friend's son and say he's queer, and that's why when the word queer came back around, and even people, LGBTQ people, use it, I don't like the word because that brings negativity to me from my own family. And I've never even had the talk with my parents because they know, but why would I even want to talk to them about it? Brittany says, "May I?" Yeah, you can ask me a question. If I can't answer, I'll just say I can if it's too personal. Hey, Olap, is it Olap? 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 I don't know. I heard some people trying to decide how to say it. Just Irish says, I married my mother. My husband was just like her, controlling and mean. Oh, my mother, controlling and mean. We do not get along when I'm with my mother, which I haven't seen her in a few years, but when I'm with her, like, we don't get along. I think I'm a lot like her, but I think that I've been able to change in certain ways. Like, you can change patterns. Like, if I had had children, that they would not have grown up the way I did. They would have been. I'm such a huggy, touchy, feely person, and I didn't have that from either parent, and it was something that I needed. I needed it so badly. Please thumbs up and subscribe. Hey, Mark, thank you for that. Let's do that. Okay. Now, a child's brain learns fear before it learns calm. So when a home feels unpredictable, the brain goes into survival mode. Like, remember when Brittany's son said that he got caught having a YouTube channel, and he said, I wanted to tell you, but every time I tried to come tell you, confess, and he said, you were always in a bad mood, or he asked her if she was in a good mood. And so this is a child who's done something that they know and I don't even know if her story was true. He may not have even done all that, but that's what she used. They're in survival mode. It's unpredictable. They don't know what to do. They're children. We don't innately know. I think we know some right from wrong, but you don't know every little thing. You get it as you grow up. They stop learning and they start watching. Well, what did my mom, how do they act? Well, when I left church with my parents, I was, about 12, 13. We leave church all the way home, 20-minute drive. All I hear is so-and-so, and they did, and did, talking about everybody. Not necessarily always negative, but never anything like, wow, did you see that? That's really great. She did awesome. I'm so proud of her. It wasn't like that. It was always, well, they're getting a divorce, or they're blah, blah. And it was like, this is what I watched. This is what I watched. And it's no wonder I'm drawn to the chaos of these live streams where, I'm not drawn to the really wildest ones, but I think a lot of us are drawn into this chaos because that's what we know. And it's an escape. So the kid, they're scanning every look, every tone, trying to guess what's coming next. I could tell you what was coming next after a while. I could tell you that parents weren't going to speak for a couple weeks. He was going to ask me to go ask her, could you ask your mother to do this? And she would be like, can you ask your father? As a go-between, as a child. No, that's not good. And I'm supposed to not pick sides, right? Because she's mad at me now because I supposedly, quote, picked his side when they got divorced, and I'm an adult. And they're, I'm like, okay, you're mad because okay, and it's like, The constant stress, this is the scary part. The constant stress reshapes the brain, making focus, memory, and calm almost impossible. It's physiological. The brain is adapting to its environment. If you're out there, if you're a caveman and you're out there and all you got to do is worry about, a fire to cook on or to stay warm and meat to eat, that's what you're focused on. But if you're in a home where you've got school and you've got friends and you've got parents and you're at home and it's just all this, they're coming, the haters, you know, the laws here, they sent CPS, all that kind of stuff. The kid doesn't know anything about, they're only hearing too. They don't know anything about what all this means, but they're only hearing that negative side of everything. They don't understand why this is happening. So let me go back and see what y'all are doing. I'm on a different page. Okay. Let's see. Okay. Were you able to find happiness as an adult being part of the LGBT cause? That's all I wish for people that are part of the LGBT. I think I said it right. No, Miss Brittany, no. I am secure in who I am. Do I go to the, I don't do the, I don't do parades and stuff. I don't do the gay pride, although I've been to pride events. And I do have gay friends and everything. I'm just not, I'm older and I'm just not in so much need of that. But yeah, I mean, for the most part, I've been able to be okay, be good with that because I have no choice. It's not a choice. People think, when did you decide to be gay? Well, when did you decide to be straight? If you never had to think about it one way or the other, then you're not gay, right? It wasn't, it's not what a lot of people think. So there's the answer to that. Just Irish said she raised her kids opposite of how she was raised. Rebel Red. Some parents blow cold. Mine were like the Antarctic. For like a year, I thought. I was in my 40s, still making decisions based on my mom. Yes, Just Irish. It is very common to I do that, but I usually do that. For me, it's like a person. Like it's not my parent because they never fulfilled that for me, but it's usually someone in my life who I look up to. And then I'm always like, well, what would they do? What would they think? Miss Sarah, your amygdala swells and takes over. Fight, flight, freeze, fawn. Releases cortisol and other stress hormones. Exactly right. It's part of how we're built. My sister has anxiety pretty bad. And I have anxiety. I have generalized anxiety disorder and I also have major depressive disorder. And I don't know her diagnosis beyond that. Thanks, Rebel Red. I've had it long and I've had it, but mostly I've had it short. Mostly. Thanks. I believe all children should be cherished and loved. I agree with you, Miss Betty Boop. Cortisol. Yeah, cortisol can give you, I guess, can give you cancer. It does. It causes brain damage. And it's hard to live with that. And then, I'm not blaming my family, but I did end up doing a lot of cocaine. And I've had problems with alcohol a few times in my life. I quit drinking in June, and it was really more about my overall health and mental health than it was, I'm walking around drunk all the time. It wasn't that. It was, I got to get my shit together, and went on another medication that I'd been on before, and it was just the right thing to do. What are you saying? She needs to protect. Let's see. I swear my MS came from my childhood. My response in my brain, whatever all the big words are, MS Kim, it's possible. I don't, I just think Betty, yes, we're all praying for Miss Betty Dan Boop. I'm sorry if I said that wrong. I just want no, no, Miss Brittany, you didn't say anything wrong. You want people to live how they want, and if it's not hurting anybody, we shouldn't worry about it. And I've always been that way since I can remember. Right. No, I'm freely speaking here. If y'all have a question about anything, you're welcome to ask me. But people get we're talking about cortisol and how it feels like poison. You hear people saying their stomach's upset. Sometimes it's not stress, but a lot of times people have reactions to being in chaos and stress, and it causes stomach aches and I don't even know. Like, I don't even know all the things that it can cause other than it's hard to get along with people when your mind's not well. Um, when you get triggered so easily because it's something that you grew up with and you've never had anybody, yeah, you've not had the proper care or the proper person in your life that helped you. Yes, Miss Sarah, I self-medicated a lot. Okay, Betty, she said she'll be back shortly. I self-medicated a lot. I'm currently only self-medicating with marijuana, as I have a medical marijuana card. Is that good for me? I don't know. I'm not on it right now, but I need. I say I need it. I don't know if I need it so bad as I used to, but yes, it was very kind and respectful, Miss Britt. Hey, Scarlett, good to see you. Let's see. Oh, thank you, Miss Brittany. Yes, June 2nd, I stopped drinking. Yes, and isolation is something. I spend 90% of the time or more alone. I don't see people that often. I have neighbors. I had to get my yard done today. It's supposed to start storming tomorrow and turn cool finally. But I get my yard done this morning, so that was good. Trauma responses. Yes, trauma responses are real. Oh, I usually start right after lunch. That's my I used to start at 5 p.m. I'm retired and everything, so now I start at after lunch. But today I didn't because I'm going to be trying to talk to you guys, and I don't know how I would do on it. Hey, Bliss. Okay, drive safely. Bliss is driving and listening. Okay, so we got to, let's see. The constant stress reshapes the brain. Okay, it makes focus, memory, and calm almost impossible. I know I just already read that, but I can tell you that most of my life, it's just I feel like my mind's just racing and I don't know, is it normal? Am I just like everybody else, or is it just me? I don't do well in crowds. If I'm with people, I have to come home and, just be still and be by myself for days. It takes a while for me to get over it. So children, they think it's their fault, and sometimes parents blame the kids. Preteens don't know how to say mom's depressed or dad's unstable. They don't know. They don't understand why their parents are fighting. Why are they fighting? Why is he throwing a major cursing fit because she's trying to help him back that camper into the camping spot, and he's throwing a major fit? This is supposed to be fun. We're camping. I'm just going back to my childhood. We're supposed to be having fun. And I can't go fish or swim until they get the camper fixed. But it's the child's fault. They don't know. BJ's kids probably don't understand why her mom is fighting with all these people online. Why do these people hate my mother so much? You know, they don't understand mom's depressed or dad's unstable. They say it must be me. It must be me. And I remember it must be me with my father, especially. Well, both of them, when they were like always talking bad about people. And I'm like, how am I ever going to please them, to do right by them? And I haven't. I think the only time I might have done right for them or they'd be proud was when I went back to college and graduated, that I knew they were proud, or felt it, like that's a big thing, right? Getting your college degree is a big thing. It was in my family, and my sister did it in 3 years. It took me 20 something. I quit and went back. You know what I'm saying? I was 40 years old. But everything's the child, not every family or every child's the same, but a lot of times they're going to put it on, it's my fault. There's something wrong with me. And what I showed y'all earlier about, it's not something's wrong with you. It's something terrible happened to you. And sometimes trauma is big things like a house fire, being in a house fire, or parents, even bigger than mine, parents fist fighting or doing things that I didn't witness. And then there's that belief that love must be earned. It's something that sticks with you. How can I get my mother to love me? I never figured it out. Because you know what? She can't. She can't. And she's sitting over there now where she is alone. And none of us call her anymore, or not much, because she's just mean to everybody. And as you get older, unless you change, it's not going to get better. And then here's the problem. And then it becomes perfectionism, people pleasing, or shame that never really goes away. So I just figured out a few years ago that I'm a people pleaser. And I'm like, wow, I'm not a perfectionist, but I have perfectionist tendencies. Like I want to go live and I want it to be perfect, well, good luck. Good luck, Barb. But it sticks with you, the people pleasing or shame or perfectionism, these coping mechanisms that you get in childhood, and you carry them into adulthood, and then you get out in the workforce and you don't, or YouTube for a lot of people is their job, and you're not getting along with people. You don't know how, and everybody's got their own crap, and it's just more chaos. More chaos. Let me see if y'all are talking over here. All right, let me go over here. We're going to go. It helps your pain stress. Yeah, it does. It does help. Scarlett, I have 4 friends off here I've known for years, and that's all. I'm basically alone with my kids and other person who hates the internet. Holly says, sounds like me to a damn T. I'm hoping that you guys, I'm hoping that there's people in here that are relating to me, and me just saying, the rawness of it, rather than just trying to come in here and read off some stuff. I'm just, because nobody really learns like that way. And it is exhausting, Amber. It is. Hippocampus is your memory, emotional regulation, and I see all that stuff. Yes, airports can't do those. Yes, recharge. Got to recharge. One puff and you're done, Marky. They call her fatty. Well, Lacey, that was one of the little boys that said, shut up, fatty. Shut up, fatty. To her. Maybe they see it. Well, no, of course they see it. And obviously the dad's been saying that. Somebody's been saying that in front of them. Maybe they learned it from school to call people who were overweight fatty. I don't know, but yeah, maybe they see it. Children will, without a doubt, find a way to blame themselves. A parent's job is to keep home as stress-free as possible. I agree with you, Just Irish. Holly says, I can relate to that too. I'm not sure what they ever wanted me to do. Always said my kids fighting has nothing to do with you at all. Well, when you're a kid, you don't understand that the fighting isn't your fault. Listening from the UK, one of Clue's crew, but children generally know who they are by the age of 7 to 10. Maslow's hierarchy of needs says it if one need is not met, that can lead to all kinds of problems. Yeah, we did, Sam, we studied a lot of the different theories and the people. I remember studying this person. If you're not emotional needs aren't met, then how can anything else? If a child doesn't have adequate nutrition and they worry about worry about being hungry, it didn't matter if you hug them 100 times, they're going to have problems, right? So yeah, you're right. You used to be a people pleaser. Miss Sarah's a people pleaser. Mark could drink beer like water, but not weed. Beer prices are so high, drink some vodka now, but not much. Being raw and open is a great form of therapy. Yeah. Hey, Tracy. Good to see you. Hey, Clemson girl. Super Cracker. I'm 50 and I have a 31-year-old and 24-year-old daughter, and I smoked weed and they never had a clue. And I still smoke weed. Okay. They say that it can cause problems too. Everything, even if you have to take medication for something, then that can cause problems. Anything we put into our bodies. I wish those kids weren't shut in. Honestly, that shit is traumatizing. Yeah, it is. It is, and I'm not so sure that everybody, including me, going at Brittany is helping anything. I don't really think anybody's trying to help her. I did try to help her before I started talking about her. And I'm just using them as an example today because they're all over. They're a trending topic right now. The young ones hear everything. What about when the kid said she didn't tell us to say that? Right. Right. I never in my life had anyone take care of me till my husband. I was blessed to had him in my life. Oh, Nan, I'm so sorry he's gone. Sam Sleuthen graduated at 50 with dual honors. Crappy childhood, but better than some. Now a counselor. I think a lot of us want to be counselors. I wanted to be a therapist because I have a lot of empathy, and I struggled a lot. Yes, I said that, Clemson girl. I've been saying that. They need sports activities, something outside the home. They need that. They need help. They don't need help on here so much. Grandma Reels, hey, I've tried to reach out. Yeah, I think a lot of us have tried. I should have done it sooner, but it wouldn't have mattered. But I think that things could have gone differently for Brittany, but the going real life, going to the law, filing this stuff is just not going to be the answer. Thank you, MS Kim. I appreciate you appreciating me. Not qualified to diagnose, even if I had a good idea what it's what or might be. I think as a people pleaser, it makes us feel approval, even for a minute or two. Sports are good for everyone, unless you're a Razorback, Mark. Yeah, we want to help the children, but I think that the problem with that is they're a long way from what those children need right now. And unfortunately, I mean, I don't want her children taken away. I just want them. I just don't. I can feel too much for those kids. I just don't want them to be in that situation. But there's hundreds of millions of kids in that situation. I can't fix everybody. I can't fix them, right? Tracy says, I don't hate BJ. I don't like her behavior. It's that her shitty behavior people call out. Yeah, I mean, I don't hate her. Yeah, competitive gymnast, plays piano playing. Yeah, I don't want to see anybody else suffer. I mean, and had I not known, if there weren't kids over there, yeah, I probably would think a little differently about what's going on. Okay, let me. Yeah, we just want her to get help, and you know, there is help for children, a lot more than we had as kids. I think that you've got you can get help for troubled children, but that's not going to happen if the parents are in chaos all the time. They don't have the capacity to think, oh, I need to take care of my child. Clemson girl, the thing about her, I don't think that the correction is the problem. And when I approached her about, worried about the gun incident and all that, it was, we're fine. So what am I going to do? I don't live in that town. There's nothing I can do. Morgan Le Fay. Okay, let me go back now. Again, they don't understand depression. Like, I'm pretty sure it could be both of my parents have depression. I don't really know. I just know that they have mental illness too. Then the child becomes the parent. Remember when Brittany was crying recently, and she said her little boy was patting her and asking her if she's okay? That's a child becoming the parent. That's a child, comforting their parent. And should be the other way around. Parents can be real. They can have real problems, but they don't need to put those on the kids. I had told this story, and again, I tell a lot of my stuff. But when my dad got caught, he was stealing from his job and came home late from work. I'm just making this as short as possible. Came home late from work. I could hear them in the other room talking about what happened. He got in trouble. He lost his job. He got convicted. I mean, I guess he pled. I don't remember. I don't really know the details because they wouldn't tell me. But I know that on appeal, he did not get punished. So his only punishment was the humiliation and losing his job and his pension and everything. When you work for the government, that's kind of a big deal to have your retirement, which he lost. And then he got another job, but it changed everything. So when no one's taking care of the kid, they start taking care of everyone else. Or they break TVs, or they yell and scream. They act out in whatever way they act out. Maybe they break the van windows. I still don't believe his story about the gate, but they cook, clean, listen, soothe, anything to keep the peace. That's called parentification, and it steals your childhood before it even starts. Has anybody had that reaction to their family? Let me see where y'all are. Barb, Craig lets things slip when he's drunk. BJ was on about her daughter. Craig said, how tall is she now? What? Implicating to me the older ones are not there. Oh, they're not there. No, the older kids have never been there. I say that without being there myself, but I mean, I've watched her off and on since I knew her 3 years ago, and there's never been a time where my daughter and I are going to a movie or, uh, the kids are over, the big kids are here and we're doing so and so. It was just always, well, first of all, it was, excuse me, it was, she only had two. First, there were two kids, and then the daughter got brought up at some point, and then the five came out. So, there's no way those kids are all there. And like you said, he didn't even know how tall the kids were, her other kids. Sports are work, Great Dane Lover, for the parents. And I was fortunate. My parents were active. My sister was a cheerleader, so Friday night football, we're all over not the whole state, but I got to go to all the games because my parents went to all the games, and I would either ride with them or my friend and her and other friends, because her dad was the high school football coach. So mom would drive us all to the game, or I would go with my parents, and they would drive cheerleaders and stuff. But I played softball, not every summer, but a few different summers. That's a lot on the parents. My parents took me we went to all the games. They were good about that. That's what I'm saying. From the outside, everything looked great. But on the inside, if you're inside my house or inside the car, it's not. Yeah, go rest, Betty. I have thought that too. I wonder if the one has sleeping issues because he feels he needs to protect her. It's very possible, Chroma Reels. It's it's what we're going over. It's highly possible, probable. Flips a Girl says, and yes, it makes me so mad to hear a parent tell a child they can't afford something the child wants, but the parents buy themselves whatever they want. Yep. I didn't have that problem, but we just didn't get everything we wanted. I was fine with that. I mean, that's not a problem. Yes, the son waking her up and then getting in trouble for that and being told that being lied to and being told that she wasn't asleep, that's damaging to the child. You're teaching the child to lie. You're teaching the child that you have to be careful what you say. You can't say anything. I don't even know how many things it would do. My ex and I would talk in the car so kids could hear us fighting, but even then they knew what was up. Oh, kids are not dumb. Parks, beaches, a long drive, these are free. Why not utilize them? Yeah, Betty Dan Boop. If you I live in a town we've got lakes everywhere, nice, pretty lakes, and I'm bad. I haven't been to the lake this summer. I was going fishing a lot, but I've been in a lot of pain. I haven't felt like it. But if I had young children or any children and I live where I live now or live close to a beach, that's what we would be doing on the weekends or, whenever. I mean, oh my gosh, I would love to live by the beach, but a lot of people would love to live where I live. I don't have a boat, so I can't just go boating. Yes, scolding her son for waking her up made a lot of us angry. 5, Fallon, Scarlett. I think time is the issue. They are selfish with their time. They want to be on the phone all day, online gaming. Normal family activities are not the priority. Well, I think it would be pretty hard to stay up all night and go, stay up all night and go to the beach, take the kids to school. And when the weekend rolls around, you haven't got enough sleep, you're not going to want to go to the beach. Yeah, I don't believe the window imploding was true. YouTube, this much time and all the energy in the lawsuit, it just feels like all of that could be better in some way towards a family. Um, it seems like to me that Brittany didn't really think that through and kind of maybe chickened out a little bit, didn't go to that one hearing because maybe she just couldn't get enough courage to go do it. And maybe that's what happened on the day of the hearing. The other hearing is that, sometimes it's hard to do stuff and maybe she was scared that they were there and she didn't want to see them before court started. But I don't know how you could show up late for a court date. Yeah, sleeping when it's sunny out. Yeah, I played outside. Um, Liar's gonna lie, Holly. I played outside all the time when I was a kid. I like to be outside. Um, so let's see. It's all sad. Remember being a kid and coming back from break and listening one fun thing you did or shared a highlight. Can you imagine? Oh, that oof. Lawsuits seem like a big energy drain and hassle, let alone the money. Yeah, I don't even like I can't even imagine the mental the mental strain that would be. And then so you I don't think Craig understands what's involved. I think he's being told partial truths. And the things that he leaks in the background, like last night, I don't think he really understands. I don't even know if he knows what she did with the ROs. I don't even know. I don't think, and he started talking about how attorneys only handle certain kinds. Like you can't just get one attorney to handle everything. So there's been discussion there, right? Yeah, she did. I think Just Irish, she got, I mean, who goes and files something on somebody and then like blames the judges, blames the court, blames the town for not getting the shit together right. It's crazy. So we read about the parentification. So then the kids' emotions go off the rails. They don't know, they've never learned how to feel, how to react without getting punished for it. Like I always got in trouble for crying, but I couldn't stop. It wasn't that I wanted to cry. I wasn't throwing a tantrum or laying on the floor, It was just I cried. I mean, my 1 year picture at 1 year, I'm sitting there, I've got the ball, back in the day when you went to, I don't know, JC Penney's or something and got your pictures made. And I'm sitting there all professional looking photo and everything. And I've got this ball and there's just a tear running down my face. I just cried. They think that's so funny. They always thought they would laugh at me and make fun of me. Well, I didn't understand, you know. I mean, now looking back, so what? I cried. I mean, I'd be like, I cried. So what are you going to do about it? So the kid either shuts down completely or they explode. They crying, raging, or breaking down over things they feel too big to handle. It's not drama, it's emotional survival. It's when you don't know what to do as a kid and you want and need attention, what are you supposed to do? I mean, how are you supposed to react and you don't know how to react? Ooh, the judge could have put her in contempt. Yeah, he doesn't know anything about the RICO. I'm with you, Tracy. Sears too. We used to have Sears. Uh You do, Holly? And really, and there's not anything wrong with crying. There's nothing wrong with crying. Again, if I'd been throwing fits and, throwing stuff around and breaking things, breaking TVs, I never did anything like that. Sam said she grifted for the money, so had to do something to prove to the subs. It was a half-assed attempt because people were asking. Yes, I think a lot of this has been deflection from the money that was raised. And let me say this while I'm right there. If you, and then I just drew a blank. I was going to talk about something, but I just drew a blank. I've been doing pretty good with that. Yeah, crying is great. But when you're, I'm a very sensitive. I was a very sensitive little girl, and I didn't know how to deal with that. And then I had insensitive parents. So it's like, how did I even come into this world being so sensitive and getting, being empathetic and all that? I was going to go into something, but it'll come back. Again, it's not drama. It's emotional survival. And it's basically every kid for himself, right? There's nobody, unless you had a teacher or a grandparent or a godparent or a family friend, some adult who could pull you in and talk to you and tell you that, hey, build you up and help you become all you can be, rather than putting you down. Excuse me, I just can't stop with that. I'm belching. They don't know who to trust, because when a parent abuses you or hurts you, you don't know who to trust. They ignore you. I mean, how are you supposed to know as a child? Trust becomes dangerous. This is how kids get into problems like, what is that word? Grooming. When men are able to groom children, when women and men, okay? Because I watched a video yesterday. This woman in my state was had sex with a minor, and it was like her son, her kids' friends, and there was this big friend group, and they interviewed her sitting in a car. They were sitting there, and it's like, I don't know if she groomed him, but you shouldn't even do that. But there's men that will groom young women. There's a girl in my state, who the father killed this man who had her in his car. He had over 40 charges for what he did to her physically, and all the porn he had on his computer. And they let him out on bond, a low bond. And he went over and he kidnapped her from the home. I say kidnap because a 13-year-old can't give consent. And dad realizes they're gone because the dog's barking, and he runs out the door calling 911. My daughter's not in the home. I'm going to go find her. He goes and finds them. He finds the vehicle. He gets it. I don't know if he rammed them or ran them off the road somehow into a ditch. His daughter was trying to get out of the car and she couldn't. The suspect jumps out of his car and starts coming back at the dad, and the dad kills him. Okay. And then he beat him, and then he pistol whipped him. So he's been charged with murder. That girl to even go, I mean, how would she go with the man who had already abused her and leaves, and the man's out on bond, and now the dad's gonna, he's running for he's running for sheriff of that county right now. I don't know how far that's going to go because his trial's before the election. So grooming happens to children who are not in a family that's nurturing them. There's things are missing. They need, and not always. I think you could be the perfect family and it could still happen, but it's much more likely to happen, or even trafficking with a child who is in a situation where they're very unhappy and they're looking for somebody, me looking for these women, these older girls, there's somebody to look up to hopefully get their, I want your attention. Can I have your attention? You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? So you grow up waiting for the other shoe to drop. What's going to happen? Even the people who mean well, that's how attachment wounds form. And I think a lot of us, we're drawn into this drama, true crime even, because of the psychology of it, the problems that are here. Everybody's fighting, and it's either an escape or it's I know how this feels. This feels just like where I want to be. This feels like what I'm used to. This feels like real life. So, you don't trust anybody. You get attachment wounds. Even preteens, their body keeps the score. Even preteens show the wear and tear. Stomach aches, headaches, trouble sleeping. That's stress chemistry, not attitude. Cortisol, adrenaline, the body's on alert 24/7. Think about that when you're a kid. I mean, I don't remember physically feeling anything about, I don't remember having stomach aches or things like that. But I did have, like I always bit my nails. I mean, we're talking sucked my finger, my index finger, till I was way too old to be doing that. And then I never sucked my thumb. I sucked a finger. And then biting my nails up until now. I still bite my nails. I did let a few of them grow out recently, but I think I attacked them again a little bit. I was actually trying not to read too many of these. Short people used to sit on those catalogs for. Yes, Aaron Spencer. Yeah, I didn't say his name, but yeah, Aaron Spencer, and he's running for sheriff. Because the guy shouldn't have been freed. The whole thing of it, this guy should have been held in prison or in jail until his trial. And all those charges just got dropped because the man's dead. Not to mention their own hormones. Oh, yes. And we're talking about children who are right at that age of, puberty. Irish says, as a kid, I was depressed all the time. Then I found drugs and alcohol. Well, I didn't even know, things were just different. I didn't know about depression. I didn't know about anxiety and depression. I didn't know about drug abuse. None of that stuff, when you're living without the internet and stuff, we didn't know all that. Oh, is that what you're looking at, Barb? The body keeps score? Huh? Yeah, the body keeps score. Stomach aches, ulcer, you can get ulcers, you can get just a stomach ache, headaches, whatever, however your body reacts to the stress. I don't remember having I think mine was just the anxiety and I'm sure I had depression too. But your body being on alert 24/7, that's not healthy. They learn love and pain come together. When affection and abuse live under the same roof, kids get the message that love hurts. And unless they get help, they'll keep repeating that pattern, chasing the same kind of chaos because it feels familiar. It feels familiar. This feels familiar. Coming in YouTube and, you know, going at each other can feel familiar to people. It's especially if they're able to one up the person they're fighting with. Well, see what I did? I mean, let's see. A book? No, I wasn't looking at a book. I've just got some notes here. Yeah, I feel for the kids. She is too lost. The body keeps the score, brain, mind, and body in the healing of trauma book by, oh, I'll have to look into that, Amber. I'll look into that. Thanks. My mom was just inconsistent. One day I was the greatest kid ever. The next day I couldn't do anything right. Oh, Holly. Yeah, mine was always, I couldn't do anything right. Mostly because nobody could do anything right. Not so much that they were always on me going, you can't. It wasn't that so much as nobody in the world could do anything right. And even when I did something good, it didn't really get it, a lot of attention. And then I started having problems in school in the 4th grade, like not being able to pass my classes. Now, I don't know if I had some kind of learning disability or if all this stress was wearing on me, because also in the 4th grade, I was doing a little bit of sleepwalking or having trouble, maybe just anxiety, because one morning I got up and got dressed for school and went into the den to go into, get breakfast and everything. I thought it was time for school. And they were just like, what are you doing? And I just got against the wall and just slid down the wall. And I was like, so I think that was probably anxiety. And for some reason in the 4th grade, I started doing bad in school. I don't think it was hormones yet, because I didn't start the puberty thing real young. I mean, I was always like this little shortest person in school. I'm always been small. So the pain and like love hurts, being told that you're loved, but what does that mean if you don't feel it? Like, you could tell me all day, I love you, but I don't feel that, right? If you're not nurturing me and affectionately, when like for me, I needed it so badly. And to be, and this was years ago, to tell people, I only remember 3 times my mother hugged me, and all 3 of them were like traumatic events. Friend's death, as a child. I fell and busted my forehead on brick steps because I got home from, like, we didn't have kindergarten and all that back then, but I went to like 2 days a week, a preschool type thing. And I had to see my dog when I got home, and our dogs didn't come in the house when I was a kid. And I ran to the back, and I was coming back up, and I fell on the sidewalk and hit my head. And I remember that hurt really bad. And my mother held me in her lap or something, I think, outside. That's what I remember. And there was one other time. Oh, the time she threw herself on me in my room because my dad had lost his job and was in trouble, right? And she comes to me for support without really telling me what's going on, the whole thing. And, and I'm the child. And so that's chaos, and that's not understanding love. And that's really needing I needed emotional support. So let me go back and see what y'all are saying. Trauma therapist. Oh, I need one. Back then, they never knew what it was. They labeled it as depression. Probably. 4th grade was hard school-wise. I remember struggling so hard in math and had 0 help. but I had better make at least a B or above. Well, I just remember having like a D in science, and my fourth grade teacher did not like me. And I think it was just sometimes somebody reminds of somebody else, and we just can't like that person because of that. Because I mean, what could I have done? I was this little bitty girl. You're 4'11". I'm like 5'2" ish. You have a spelling disability. A typing disability. I have a self-confidence disability. Broke both arms. Wow, you got in trouble for that? Okay, we're almost done. Let's see. This is the good news that if you know somebody like who's in like a child or even an adult who you can be that for, you can be that safe adult. You can have one teacher, one grandparent, a friend, or a therapist that can rewrite that story, especially the younger you could get in to get help. Healing starts with being believed, being seen, and realizing you were never the problem. Man, I needed to hear that when I was 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and on and on and on. Could somebody have just pulled me to the side and said, you aren't doing anything wrong. You're just a kid. You're doing everything fine. But it didn't happen that way. It didn't happen that way. It didn't work. Amber says, a good one is so hard to find. Oh, we're talking about a therapist? Yep. Yeah, Scarlett's an author. Hateful teachers. Oh, thank you, Scarlett. People on here could really convince me otherwise, but I think I've had enough time away to realize that, I'm not a bad person. Holly's trauma dumping. That's fine. We were being a kid. That's all you could do. Yep. That's really all you can do. And if you have anybody in your life who is in that situation, that you maybe think, well, they really need to know that. Just reach out to them. Reach out to people who are in a bad situation. If you try to, like when I tried to help Brittany, well, no, she's not going to take that. But you might have somebody in your life who could use those words now, even as an adult. Everyone here deserves to hear it. I tell those I know always. Good. That really there are only certain people that don't deserve, to be treated right. And that's the people who are just mean all the time. They don't have compassion for anybody. They don't have feelings for anything but themselves. They're mentally unstable. They cause problems for everybody. Nobody wants to be around that. We got to be kind to each other, but you got to be kind to yourself first. And you've got to, I hate that. You have to love yourself. And then people think if I were to say I love myself, because I don't even say that, but that's conceited or something. But it is self-love to go, you know what? I need to stop drinking because I need to get my shit together because, some things were going on in my brain and I needed to, obviously the drinking isn't going to help with depression and anxiety, although at the moment it might seem like it. And I mean, doing things for yourself, that's self-love. Getting the courage to come back and go live on here and knowing that I have real enemies here, that took courage, but I needed to do it. And it's it's good for me. I need this because like I said, I sit home. I'm home alone all the time. And I like to talk to people. Yeah, it's not conceited, but if you were to say that, a lot of people would say, well, you're just conceited. Tell somebody, tell somebody that you care. Um, let people, if you're there, if you can be there for somebody, let them know. Don't tell somebody you're there for them and just say it flippantly and not really mean it, because that could just cause more problems. But just, I'm here, say, I'm just here. I'm here if you need me. No judgment. All I need is love. I love your screen name. Hi, Barb. I'm to live alone. It's hard. I mean, I choose to live alone. I choose it, but um Scarlett says, I feel you, Barb. I still thrive and do what makes me happy, and you can be happy knowing you have people who care. So let's read this again. This was from a therapist. The strength of a trauma diagnosis is that it externalizes the source of the pathology. It's saying something terrible happened to you. There is nothing wrong with you. There's nothing wrong with you. This stuff happened to you. And, oh, your earth angel. Okay. Something is wrong with you. Trauma is difficult. And again, I used to say, oh, everybody had it worse than me. They had worse trauma than me. And why am I upset? Just because my parents fought and they treated me mean, and my sister made fun of me and chased me around the house and made fun of me when I started puberty, and all these things that I still think about. Those weren't nearly as bad as the girl who's I'm not going to go into, but people who had illegal things done to them, right? Things that would get their abuser put in prison. And I always compared that to me. And I'm like, Barb, you had a good life, and they weren't that bad. It wasn't that bad. Well, it's that bad that I'm still thinking about it, right? It's that bad. So tell somebody you're there if you're really going to be there for them. Don't do it just to go do it, and treat each other the way you want to be treated. It's really not that hard. And it's hard for me to sit here and do all this, and then I'll make mean videos about people. So I'm torn. I'm torn because I want to be in the middle of all the quote fun and the going back and forth at everybody, and at the same time, I want to be this person over here who struggles and who is real, and I struggle and I'm real there too, but it's hard for me, okay? And I want to have fun and I want to do all the stuff, but at the same time I want to be I want to heal and not hurt. Oh, Holly, I'm so sorry. Well, guys, I'm going to wrap it with that. I hope that what we talked about today can help you or somebody you love, that you can share this out if you know somebody who could benefit from having heard what I've said today. And I appreciate all y'all's input too. And if you wouldn't mind, if you share it out on anybody who's got, who's ever shared on their channel, you can share it out. Yeah, calling out scammers. Yeah. So I'm trying to do my channel. I want people in my live streams, but I'm not always going to talk about means going at people and stuff. Even though you get more views and all that, but my heart won't let me. Again, share it out if you will. Give it a like before you leave, and subscribe if you're here and you're not a subscriber. I would love to have you. We talk about a lot of different things. Over here, my background is in psychology as far as my degree, and so I'm always drawn to talking about that. Holly says, I felt I was listening to myself other than the mean sister part. Yeah, she was mean to me. From surviving to thriving. It's also very good if anyone is interested. Thanks for that, Amber. Oh, thanks, Scarlett. I always share for you. Have a beautiful weekend. Oh, if you're a football fan, let me know who your team is. I got the Hogs tomorrow playing A&M. We should win. We should hope we win. That's what I'll be doing on Saturday. Thank you. Thank you, Scarlett. I don't know. But I'll see y'all soon. I should be here Sunday because I'm really trying to get a pattern of that Sunday morning live that I used to do. You have a psych degree, Holly. I think we go get the psych degree because we're so troubled. Go Big Red. Who's that? The Scoop with Barb. Thanks for being here. I will see y'all hopefully Sunday, if not before. Have a great weekend.